Hey guys, I wanted to quickly share about a cool way you can support the show. Travel content creating and podcasting is so fun. But as you travel lovers know, traveling can get expensive. While I may receive trades from time to time, the flights, the behind the scenes hours filming, editing, recording, and sharing are often unseen and unpaid. There is this super cool website called buymeacoffee.com that was created specifically as a way to support creators like me. Buy Me a Coffee is a quick and simple way to show your support for the Trip Tales podcast. And Lord knows this busy Mama 3 could use a coffee to keep me recording and sharing, and maybe help with the grocery bill as well. I'll also give a special shout out by name to anyone who buys me a coffee in the following week's episode. So if you love Trip Tales, I'll put the link in the show notes, or you can get there by visiting buymeacoffee.com/Kelsey Graves. Thank you for considering supporting the show. Welcome to the Trip Tales podcast with me, Kelsey Graves. Let's jump into a new episode exploring a vacation destination that you'll want all the details about. Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode 8 of Trip Tales, where we are going to be talking all about Sugar Beach, the Viceroy Hotel in St. Lucia. This week in my Instagram stories, I polled everyone with which property you'd like me to do an episode on. And out of 3 choices, Sugar Beach was the winner. If you're not following me on Instagram, my username is just my name, Kelsey_Graves. And over there, I share a lot more videos and content so that you can get a feel for the destinations I talk about here on the podcast. And speaking of the podcast, I typically prefer to have a guest on so we can both give our perspectives about a destination, sharing 2 different experiences and points of views, but that doesn't always happen. And so today is a solo episode with yours truly. I'm always looking for guests and great vacation destinations. So if you have recently taken a trip, like in the last few years, that you think would make a great Trip Tales episode and listeners would love to hear about, please email me at triptalespodcast@gmail.com and let me know. The goal of Trip Tales is to have real people share about their real trips so that others can wrap their head around accommodations, dining, excursions, what to do, and maybe what not to do while they're planning their own trips. So without further ado, let's talk Sugar Beach. For my husband and my 10-year wedding anniversary, we wanted to go somewhere super special. Marriage and parenthood is hard work, and we have 3 kids. We feel so blessed, but it is a constant around the clock, daytime and nighttime job. And sometimes the only way for us to truly disconnect from that life and reconnect with each other is to physically leave town. I know many of you are probably nodding your head in agreement. So we knew we wanted something islandy for this 10-year anniversary trip, but my husband has an adventurous side and wanted a place that wasn't just a typical flat island, if that makes sense. I could have literally been happy anywhere. All inclusive in Mexico, sign me up. But he kept saying he wanted something with cool topography. It sounds kind of funny saying it out loud, but we've been to places like Brazil that has some amazing topography and some other tropical places like that that have really stuck with us. So that was the vibe we were going for. I reached out to a travel agent in my town named Rachel Stovall with Haven Escape Travel, here where I live in Franklin, Tennessee. And based on the things we wanted, which I shared with her, which was a special occasion luxury resort, an island with topography, and a romantic destination, she landed very quickly on Sugar Beach, which is a Viceroy hotel in St. Lucia. Now, I will say Sugar Beach is a luxury resort, and with that comes a luxury price tag. I would consider this resort for special occasions like honeymoons. There are a lot of honeymooners there, which I'll talk about in a little bit, or anniversaries. Or hey, if you have the budget to do a luxury trip like this any old time, then by all means, you have to visit this destination. So we went in June 2022, which was a beautiful time to visit. We chose a summer trip here because it was easier for us to get childcare for our kids. They were out of school. It was summer break, so it was just easier all around. There are a few different room types here at Sugar Beach. So they run about $1,000 a night. So, like I said, this is a splurge resort and it's not all inclusive. So that can kind of gauge how expensive your trip's going to be based on how many nights you stay. Our travel agent, Rachel, planned the entire trip for us, and I'm going to put her information in the show notes in case you love this episode and you kind of want the exact same trip. She's already planned it many times, so you could just reach out to her and she could get it done for you really quickly. I do recommend reaching maybe out to a travel agency for something like this because you need car transfers and they can get you extras like included breakfast. And most travel agents cost nothing to you, which is awesome. But if you want to plan it on your own, I'm going to share everything we did here. So you probably already know this, but St. Lucia is a Caribbean island down near Martinique, St. Vincent, and Barbados. We flew American Airlines from Nashville, and we did have to connect. There's not a direct flight to St. Lucia, but we connected in Charlotte, North Carolina, and in total, it took us about 7 to 8 hours of travel time, including our layover, to get down to the Caribbean. There's only one major airport on St. Lucia. It's called, let me try and see if I can get this right, Hewanara International Airport. The airport three letters is UVF, which is kind of random because that has nothing to do with Hewanara. But anyways, you fly into this main airport, Hewanara UVF, and it's at the very southern tip of the island. Sugar Beach is in an area called Soufriere, which is just about 1 hour up on the west side of the island, but it's still fairly far south on the island overall. And obviously, just a reminder that you need your passport up to date. I think you all know that, but just check it now if you're thinking about booking a trip like this, because passports are taking forever right now. Actually, my kids still don't have passports, and I was thinking I'm going to make it a summer bucket list item to just get that done so that when the opportunity does arise or we get a wild hair and think, hey, let's go to Costa Rica, that is all buttoned up and done, and we don't have to worry about it. One major tip is to book a car transfer ahead of time. The roads in St. Lucia are very hard to drive on. I would even say borderline treacherous. I felt safe the whole time, but I would have not wanted to drive these roads by myself. We used the transfer company Barefoot Holidays. I will put their information in the show notes. That is what our travel agent set us up with, and they were fabulous and very professional. We even asked our driver on the way to the resort if we could stop at a store, like a grocery slash alcohol store. I hope my mom isn't listening because she would probably say this is not very safe, but we felt very safe with him and he brought us to a local, it was almost like a local version of a Costco, but it wasn't a Costco. It was like a warehousey though. And it had tons of like fruit and drinks and water bottles and all that kind of stuff. So we stocked up on some alcohol there because we had read that the drinks and food were so expensive at Sugar Beach, which they are. So we wanted to have some options in our room to have like an afternoon cocktail or glass of wine without having to pay, $18 every time. I still think it was a good move. That's up to you on how safe you feel, but we liked stopping at a grocery on the way to the resort. It did save us a lot of money. Another tip when traveling out of the country, specifically to Mexico or the Caribbean, would be to download the app WhatsApp on your phone. A lot of the transfer companies, car services, excursion companies use this app to communicate with you. You enter in your email on your cell phone so they know how to find you, but it's like a free way for them to connect with you if your cell phones aren't like connecting easily. So definitely have WhatsApp because you'll probably end up using it. The property is extremely secure and gated. When you finally arrive, there are almost no words. It is absolutely magical. The resort sits between two gorgeous pitons, which are the big mountainous structures jutting way up in the air. And the villas at Sugar Beach are built up and into the side of this hilly, rainforesty island. There is one small hotel type building that you can reserve rooms in at the property. And then there are a bunch of villas and cottages scattered throughout the property where you have your own private residence. The lowest price point would be the sugar mill rooms, which are in the hotel. I just checked and they're about $749 a night. I think this would be a great option if you were going alone or just you didn't need that luxury private residence feel for this trip. The property is built on an old sugar plantation, hence the name Sugar Beach. And you'll see a lot of those plantation touches in the decor, specifically in the large white main house that houses some of the restaurants, including the breakfast terrace. So outside of the hotel rooms, then there are cottages and villas, which are a little bit bigger. You can look at this all on the website, but basically the luxury cottages and villas have one bedroom. The villas are a little bit bigger with a larger outdoor patio space, but all of them have plunge pools. All of them are a private little residence. They all have these insane views. There's even bigger villas and cottages that have 2 and 3 bedrooms and even larger houses down by the ocean. We saw families staying in some of these larger residences, and some of the big ones down by the ocean have these huge private pools, and they look absolutely insane. We stayed in the second tier, which was the 1 bedroom, but with the larger patio area. I will say we found out that 4 of their standalone units have been renovated, and we were in one of them. When we were pulling up, and we met with our butler, he said, "Oh, this is one of our favorite residences." And I was like, "What does that mean?" So the original cottages and villas all have a sugar plantation vibe. So white 4-poster beds, kind of white furniture, white shabby chic maybe vibes, but very, very nice. These 4 renovated units are more of a modern chic vibe. I have videos and pictures of it in the highlight bubble on my Instagram, Kelsey_Graves. So go check it out there to see what the modern updated ones look like. But I have the room numbers for you if you want to take note of them. I will also put them in the show notes. So we stayed in unit 612. Absolutely loved it. Would stay in it again in a heartbeat. It had the most beautiful patio with a table and chairs and lounge seating, a plunge pool that looked directly into the Caribbean Ocean. You could see the pitons, you could see all the rainforest foliage. I absolutely loved this unit 612. So, in addition, the villas 613, 614, and 615 have been renovated. So anything in the numbers 612 through 615 have been renovated. If you want that, if you want the old shabby chic sugar plantation vibe, then you don't want one of those. But I would call and request one of those if I were going. So back to our airport driver who stopped with us at the grocery. Then he drove us all the way up to our villa. You get dropped off at your villa door. Um, it was like this beautiful white, shabby chic private cottage. You have to go watch my Instagram highlight. It's seriously so the word I kept using was otherworldly. I felt like I was in a movie, the rainforest, Jurassic Park. So we go into our room or villa, and there were welcome juices and champagne all set up. We cheersed, and then we just tried to like take in the beauty, the view. The room, it had a desk, it had a little couch area, it had a large bathroom with a large walk-in shower, and then an additional outdoor shower, which was private and lovely. And then, like I said, the plunge pool, which we used every single day. It's the most beautiful place I've ever been. You get assigned a butler, and they will meet you at your room shortly after you arrive to give you an overview of the property, make sure you have reservations you need. We did make dinner reservations ahead of time through our travel agent, but you could do this on your own as well. Just call the property. And when you meet with your butler, they give you a butler's phone, which you kind of keep with you the whole time. And they tell you, okay, dial *1 or something to get a ride. The property is large. And like I said, it's built up into this mountain. So sometimes you need a cart to come take you down to the pool because it can be kind of a hike, especially if you're going uphill. So you keep your phone with you so that you can call for a ride. And they're always there within a couple minutes. We never waited long for our ride. So the first night we went off exploring, we called for our ride. They showed right up. They took us down to the main house, which is a large white old sugar plantation formal house that houses a lot of the restaurants, a nice lounge and bar, the breakfast terrace, which has an insane view. So we walked all through that. There's also a lot of interesting modern art, noticeable modern art, large modern paintings, huge sculptures throughout the grounds, which you can't miss and are really fun to go up and check out. There's one, if it's still there, it's a massive Statue of Liberty head, but there's all these like crystal and reflective mirrored like spears coming through its head. Um, I wasn't exactly sure what it meant, but it's definitely fun to check out all the fancy modern art. They have a gorgeous gym. We did not use it, but if you are the type that hits the gym every morning, it was absolutely beautiful. Then we walked down by the super peaceful pool. It's a very large, beautiful, peaceful pool that has the view of the ocean, the view of the pitons. There isn't much to do at the pool other than lounge. I personally would not bring little kids here. We did see a few little kids and they were precious. It's like those fancy families you see on vacation when you're like, wow, what it would be like to bring my 2-year-old to Sugar Beach. But this would not be a place I would bring my young kids. There just isn't that much to do. There isn't water features. There isn't a water slide. There isn't a splash pad. This is mostly for adults to relax. Now, if I had older teens who are there to sunbathe and read and see a new island like St. Lucia, definitely they'd be cool with it, but I wouldn't bring little kids. We also checked out the beach area that night, which has gorgeous palm trees and lots of nice beach loungers, the kind that have the little mattress on them and are completely covered by a almost like a fitted mattress sheet towel. And then they bring you extra towels. So we were really excited to hit the beach up the next day. And then we went down to the area of the beach that has all the non-motorized water sports. So that's the kayaks and the stand-up paddle boards and the snorkeling, which is all included in your stay. And we definitely utilize that, and it is well worth it. We'll talk more about that in a minute. So let's talk about the restaurants. The Terrace restaurant, which is in the big white plantation house, is where breakfast is served every day. Our travel agent got this included each day for us, but not everyone that we talked to at the resort had it included. So I would make sure you call or ask your travel agent to somehow get this included. It's the best way to start the day. It is so fancy feeling. They had a breakfast buffet, or you could order off their menu. They had lovely, healthy smoothies, omelets, eggs Benedict, all the fun breakfasty drinks, mimosas, Bloody Marys, and you're all overlooking the Caribbean Sea. It is a dream. Then our biggest decision of the day would be pool or beach. We loved them both. At both, they would come around with mini fresh fruit popsicles throughout the day. They'd offer you ice cold washcloths for your face to cool off. They'd offer to clean your sunglasses if some salt water had gotten, them a little smudgy. They had constant food and drink service. You never waited. The service was absolutely top notch. You are paying for the beauty of this location, the absolute beauty that is almost impossible to put into words, and the service. Those two things are top notch. We ate lunch by the pool or the beach most days because they had a very easy to order off of menu and it was delicious. It was expensive, but delicious. All the food was expensive at Sugar Beach. That's something you really have to look out for and budget for. Many items are within that $30 range. So you're just kind of like being at a ski resort. You're like, my burger is $29. Okay. But we got burgers, wings, quesadillas, fries, all those things by the pool and the beach, and they were lovely. There's also 2 restaurants near that beach area that are open if you feel like sitting down and ordering off a menu for your lunch. I'll talk more about those in a minute. For dinner, our favorite spot was the Cane Bar, which has sushi, curry, fried rice. Again, this is in that main house. We had a reservation. Things are expensive. Think close to $30 for a sushi roll or an entree, but it was kind of a bar lounge vibe feel. We loved the type of food there. So I think we ate there twice actually at the Cane Bar. And then, like I said, there's 2 restaurants down at the beach. You can eat lunch or dinner here. One is called the Jalusi Grill. This is casual beachside dining. And right next to it is Bonte, Bonte. This is traditional Creole and has fun themed evening dinners like Caribbean barbecue night, We ate here one night and it was so fun because you could just keep going up for more in their huge buffet. And it can get kind of lively in the evening around the bar. They'll have live music or a DJ. So this is definitely, I would say, a very relaxing trip, adult feeling relaxing trip, but you can find your evening fun too if you're someone who likes to stay up and have a good time. Then the other dinner restaurant is called Saltwood. This is a formal dinner restaurant in the main house. Reservations are recommended and open up to 12 weeks in advance. We didn't eat here, but this is your special occasion, get really dressed up for dinner type place. It is expensive. If I was going here on my honeymoon, I would probably make sure I reserved one night at Saltwood just for that very special occasion dinner. But we were there for our 10-year anniversary to relax, to take a break from our kids, and we weren't looking to just completely break the bank on dinner. Saltwood has starters like caviar and wagyu. How do you say that? Wagyu beef carpaccio. They have mains like halibut, which I love me some halibut. Their halibut's $65. An 8-ounce steak is $91. And the most expensive thing on the Saltwood menu is a black diamond prime tomahawk 32-ounce steak for $250. I don't even know what black diamond prime tomahawk steak means. But hey, to each their own. We do actually consider ourselves foodies, to be honest, and we love to cook and we love a nice meal, but there's just a price point that seems to get absurd where I just don't know if anything can taste as good as it would to have $250 back in your pocket. So, anyhow, we skipped Saltwood, but it would be a very special occasion formal dining option for you. Okay, let's talk about excursions and things to do. We mostly chilled at the beach and the pool because they were so relaxing, but we did get into some excursions, and here are some of them. So, like I said, all the non motorized water sports are included in your stay: snorkeling, kayaking, stand up, paddle boards. We did all of this. You just go down to that area of the beach. It was incredible snorkeling. Actually, other people on the island come to Sugar Beach to snorkel because it is that good of snorkeling. So, if you're staying here, make sure you take advantage of the snorkeling. It's incredible. You can even do it at night, which sounded kind of creepy to me, and I just wasn't up for it. But the daytime snorkeling was amazing. My husband and I kayaked. My husband and I used the stand-up paddle boards. It's like, why not get out on the water, move your body, have a little fun? So that is awesome. They do say they have tennis. We play tennis, so we ventured out to the tennis club. Unless it has changed in the last 2 years, this was not necessarily like an active activity going on the island. We made our way up there. No one was up there. We couldn't find anybody. It was like almost the edge of the resort. I don't know if you guys have seen that show Westworld on HBO, but where you kind of get to the edge of the theme park or the resort and you're like, things get a little dicey, behind the scenes. It was a little like, where are we? And there's, maybe some old stuff that they're not using anymore, like old pool chairs kind of thrown there. And you're like, I don't know if we're supposed to be here. And then they didn't have any fresh tennis balls and there wasn't really a tennis pro. So this was the only thing of this trip that was a little like, what is going on? I would 100% go back to this resort in a heartbeat. I just probably wouldn't try to play tennis. The court seemed a little overgrown. The grass around them. It was just, even if you're a tennis player, I would say just skip it. Okay, they do have a lot of hikes that you can go on, and you just reserve these through the concierge. They do cost a little something. I can't remember what. At this point, it was all baked into our total, and it's kind of like close your eyes and sign on the dotted line. But we did the gross, GROS, not like gross ooh, but gross like big, gross Piton hike. Okay, y'all, my husband, this was the one thing he wanted to do on this trip. You literally hike to the top of one of these pitons that you see while you're lounging on the beach, sipping your pina colada. He decided he wanted to hike to the top of one of those. Okay, this hike takes 3 to 4 hours and it is extremely strenuous. I am not just saying that. We are in pretty good shape. We work out every other day, if not every day, and it was hard. We were with a lot of other like younger honeymooners and we all were dying. It was rewarding. You get some really cool views of the Caribbean Sea and the pitons and the ocean. If you are excursion based, if you love a good challenge, if you love a good hike, this is for you. Gross Piton hike. You are bouldering. You are using your hands and feet to get up big rocks. It was really hard. I would not do it again if I went back because it's just like I am there to relax and I did not want to absolutely kill myself. We were so sore the next day. But anyhow, you go with a guide, which is kind of the only way to do it. You hike this volcanic gross piton. It's the gross piton stands 2,619 feet above sea level. It is adventurous. You get breathtaking views, but it is hard. There's also a daily botanical gardens tour, which is a calm 30 to 40-minute flat walk/hike, which I wanted to do, but my husband chose the Gross Piton hike. If I went back, I would probably just do the daily botanical garden hike and get some great views of the rainforest. On the daily botanical garden hike, it says it's one of the oldest botanical gardens in St. Lucia, dating back to the 1700s. It's a 30 to 40-minute trail that leads to a waterfall and hot mineral bath springs. This sounds lovely. There's also an area called Superman Waterfalls that is very popular that you can take a hike to. And then there are traditional excursions like ATVs, canopy ziplining, and horseback riding. We did talk to some people that did the horseback riding and they really enjoyed that. So all of this is on their website. It's all extra. So you just need to call and book it or go ahead and book it when you get there, which is not a problem. They can add you on to any of these excursions once you arrive. Another tour is cocoa tours. So St. Lucia is very known for their cocoa bean farms and cocoa bean factories. So you can go tour these cocoa groves. You can learn all about the fermenting and the drying of cocoa beans. And then you can even taste delicious chocolate. There are tours where you can do chocolate making and make your own chocolate bar. So if you are into kind of the culinary type tours, this might be something fun for you. There are also ways to get out on the water. There's a few different cruise options, which are listed on their website. We did the Sunset Catamaran cruise, which was amazing. We did this on our last night, and it was the best way to end our trip. You get to take in the beauty of the island and see those massive pitons from the ocean. Get out on the water, have a piton beer. Their local beer is called Piton, just like the piton. So it's real cute to get a picture with your piton beers and the pitons behind you. But this was just a lovely, lovely way to end our trip. We booked this through the concierge, and I highly recommend the Sunset Catamaran cruise. And then other than that, the beach and the pool are lovely. The beach had these massive mesh circular floating discs that you could climb into and relax. It fit about 2 to 4 people just to hang out in the ocean and take in the views of the island. And then there's another beach area called the South Beach area that you can walk down to that's a little bit more private. It's kind of where some of those large home private residences are, but you can use the beach. And this is where they have those pretty hammocks out over the water that people will take pictures in at places like this or in Bora Bora or whatnot. So we hung out on those hammocks for a little bit, got some pictures, and just kind of chatted. Okay, one other fun thing we did while we were there is we left the resort and went to a restaurant called the Treetop Restaurant. You guys, you have got to go to my Instagram and look at my highlight reel about St. Lucia. This restaurant, talk about otherworldly. It is built into a tree in the rainforest, and the views are absolute insanity. You are looking out at a volcano, pitons, rolling rainforest hills of super tall palm trees jutting up, the clouds, the sky. When I tell you the only thing that seemed normal in my brain would be if a pterodactyl flew by. Like I was like, a pterodactyl belongs here. And I probably don't. Like it is the most beautiful views I've ever seen. So just to get the views and the picture, I would book a reservation at Treetop Restaurant. The restaurant's also amazing. You literally eat in the tree house. It's open air all around. Let's see, I wrote down what the food was. It's inspired Indian and Caribbean flavors, lots of spices, seafood. And it's kind of like I feel like we did like a prefix and everything was so delicious. Someone did have a young toddler there and they seemed super stressed out because it is a high up treetop, with just some wood bars kind of holding you in For adults, it's lovely. You have your cocktail, you take pictures. But for a 2-year-old running around this treetop restaurant in the rainforest, I felt for these parents. So I would not go there if you have little kids. We had a car take us there. We just asked the concierge to make sure there was a car arranged for us. They picked us up, they drove us there, and then they came back and drove us home. So that was great. Just talk to the concierge or your butler anytime you need to make sure you have like a ride somewhere. That was the only time we left the resort. You really don't need to. Obviously, if you want to feel adventurous and go explore the island, you could. But again, it's very hard to get around and very treacherous. So we just left for that one dinner. Okay. The other thing that this resort is known for is the spa. And I so regret not doing this. Their spa is like an intimate luxury treehouse setting. We are seeing a theme here. Treetops, tree houses built into the sides of rainforests. It's very romantic. It's open air. If I went back, I would 100% book a service here. So even though they're expensive, it is a one-of-a-kind spa, and I would 100% look into booking something at the Sugar Beach Spa if you are making your way all the way down there. So overall, every day was really relaxing, except the hike day. But we would just get up, have our lovely breakfast on the terrace. We'd usually show up to breakfast in our swimsuits and cover-ups. Then we would make our way down to the pool or the beach. We would read, we would take a nap, we would explore the resort, we'd get some food, we'd get some beachside or poolside drinks. Late in the afternoon, we would head back to our place and use the plunge pool or have an outdoor shower. It was exactly what we were looking for. And the other nice thing about our stop on the way in is in the afternoons, we could have a cocktail on our gorgeous patio, like we lived there, without having to call for anything or call for room service or that sort of thing. I will say there are a lot of honeymooners. Almost everyone we met was a honeymooner. Sometimes they would say, raise your hand if you're a honeymooner. And it was like the entire place. But that didn't bother us. We kind of felt like we were the OG marriage veterans. People would ask, are you honeymooning? No, we've been married 10 years and now we're going on even more. Um, but no, so it was something that we would just be proud of and chat with people about, congratulations, and chat about marriage and relationships, but it didn't throw us off by any means. I would go back for another special occasion. It didn't bother me at all that it was a lot of honeymooners. And if you are a honeymooner or a soon to be newlywed honeymooner listening to this, I can't recommend this destination enough. It was an absolute dream of a location. Okay, so I end every episode with, if someone out there is looking to take a trip to Sugar Beach in St. Lucia, what is it about this resort that would make you say book it? This place is utter relaxation and romantic. It's the most beautiful place you've ever been. This is the place to celebrate something, and it will feel so, so special. It's the perfect place to reconnect with your spouse. While it is a splurge, you will feel like you got your money's worth. I dream about going back every day. So with all that said, all I can say is just book it. Okay, thanks for joining me on another episode of Trip Tales. We have lots more coming up. Zion National Park, Disney cruises, Montana, a couple's trip to South Beach, Miami. So make sure you subscribe to the show wherever you're listening to podcasts so that every week when a new one pops up, you can see if it's a destination that you are interested in. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you on the next episode of Trip Tales. That wraps up another episode of Trip Tales. If you have a trip you'd like to share about on the podcast, email me at triptalespodcast@gmail.com and I'll add you to the schedule. Also, be sure to follow the show so that you don't miss any upcoming vacation destinations. And if you have an extra minute in your day, please leave a review for the podcast. It helps more than you could imagine. Thank you so much, and I'll see you on the next episode of Trip Tales. Hey guys, I wanted to quickly share about a cool way you can support the show. Travel content creating and podcasting is so fun. But as you travel lovers know, traveling can get expensive. While I may receive trades from time to time, the flights, the behind the scenes hours filming, editing, recording, and sharing are often unseen and unpaid. There's this super cool website called buymeacoffee.com that was created specifically as a way to support creators like me. Buy Me a Coffee is a quick and simple way to show your support for the Trip Tales podcast. And Lord knows this busy Mama 3 could use a coffee to keep me recording and sharing, and maybe help with the grocery bill as well. I'll also give a special shout out by name to anyone who buys me a coffee in the following week's episode. So if you love Trip Tales, I'll put the link in the show notes, or you can get there by visiting buymeacoffee.com/Kelsey Graves. Thank you for considering supporting the show.